do you share the president's assessment that we, quote, never got anything from NATO?
I share the president's assessment that on issues that are a priority to the United States...
I'll take that as you disagree with his assessment that we never got anything from NATO, because, Mr. Secretary, let me reclaiming my time, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I'm asking very specifically about a specific quote. I'm not asking whether NATO can be better or reformed. I'm asking if we never got anything from NATO. And I want to specifically ask you, Mr. Secretary...
Well, why are you asking me if I can't answer?
Wait. Did Marco Rubio just completely shut down this entire line of questioning? This hearing went off the rails the moment Representative Sarah McBride tried to force Rubio into a political trap, and his response changed the whole room. You do not want to miss how this exchange unfolded. If you enjoy fearless political breakdowns, like, subscribe, and share before we get into it.
Us today. Like you, I attended the Munich Security Conference earlier this year, and in a meeting that I had with several European prime ministers and several of your colleagues within the administration, your colleagues recognized that NATO is both bigger and better funded today than it was 10 years ago. And I am fully willing to admit that that is a byproduct of several factors, including Putin's aggression, previous administrations, and indeed a byproduct of actions by this administration and this president's first term as well. But I want to focus in today on statements and actions that I believe go beyond pressuring and leverage and actually fundamentally undermine the foundation of NATO. On January 21st of this year, in the president's speech in Davos, he said we, quote, never got anything from NATO. 2 months later, the president said on Truth Social, speaking of NATO, they will do nothing for us. Mr. Secretary, do you share the president's assessment that we, quote, never got anything from NATO?
Well, I think what the president was speaking to at that moment, and was what I'll speak to you about now, is one of the reasons why I've been such a strong supporter of NATO is because they allow us to use these bases, because it allows us in a time of contingency, like the one in Germany and others. And for the first time, we see NATO countries denying us the use of their bases, which undermines the purpose for our involvement.
These statements, including the one we never got anything from NATO, happened before the war in Iran, which falls outside of the Article 5 invocation. It falls outside of a war of defense. Do you share the president's assessment that we, quote, never got anything from NATO?
I share the president's assessment that on issues that are a priority to the United States...
I'll take that as you disagree with his assessment that we never got anything from NATO, because, Mr. Secretary, let me reclaiming my time, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I'm asking very specifically about a specific quote. I'm not asking whether NATO can be better or reformed. I'm asking if we never got anything from NATO. And I want to specifically ask you, Mr. Secretary...
Well, why are you asking me if I can't answer?
You're not answering the question that I'm asking. You're answering a different question about whether NATO can be better or reformed. And so I'm going to move on, Mr. Secretary. Are you aware that the only time Article 5 has ever been invoked is after 9/11 in defense of the United States?
Of course I'm aware of that,
okay.
Yeah.
And are you aware that more than 1,000 Europeans died in the subsequent war on terror that was invoked after?
They participated in the Middle East, correct.
And I assume you're aware that the NATO ally that lost more service members per capita is Denmark?
Denmark, I thought it was that the UK had suffered more.
More per capita.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. And I assume you're aware that Greenland is indeed part of Denmark?
For now.
Okay. Well, I want to focus in on Greenland. I joined the bipartisan bicameral trip to Copenhagen as the administration that you're a part of sought to seize Greenland. In the president's speech at Davos, he said, referring to Greenland, quote, you need ownership to defend it. Mr. Secretary, does the United States need to own land within NATO to defend it?
And the truth be told, we are actually involved in conversations with Greenland and Denmark on the use of Greenland for collective defense for all of us. It's a key part of missile defense, but we're involved in those talks right now, so I think we're in a good place on it now. But I don't want to put stuff out there in the public record that would undermine the conversations we're having with them on it.
So, specifically, I'm not asking about whether we're going to do more within Greenland for our collective defense. I think all of us share that goal, including Denmark and Greenlandic people. But does the United States need to own land within NATO to defend it. That's what the president said, and that was the justification for those statements and the attempt to seize Greenland several months ago.
The president's view is that it's a lot easier to defend it when you have control and complete control of it. We are obviously having conversations with both Denmark and Greenland. They are ongoing on a monthly basis now. I think we'll have pretty good news on it at some point.
I take that as you disagree with the literal words of the President of the United States. And I want to put a finer point.
I think he's right. If we owned it, it would be easier to defend it. But
that's not what he said. He said you need to own it to defend it, which fundamentally undermines the central tenet of Article 5 of NATO, which states that the parties agree that an armed attack against one or more of them in Europe or North America shall be considered an attack against all of them, and if such an armed attack occurs, each of them will assist the party or parties attacked. So sitting here with, I'm sure, many leaders across Europe within NATO and many leaders beyond, including Vladimir Putin, potentially watching the words and listening to the words that you are saying, can you reassure our NATO allies and make it clear to Vladimir Putin that if a NATO ally is attacked and Article 5 is invoked, that we will defend them?
The United States is still in the NATO alliance, and we'll be there in Turkey to talk about all these topics. The president himself will be attending the next NATO meeting of heads of state, where all these points will be made clear. We're still in NATO, but NATO needs significant changes, and the president has made that clear.
And
he's very disappointed in NATO.
This hearing started with Sarah McBride trying to corner Marco Rubio over President Trump's comments about NATO. The plan seemed simple. Ask the same question over and over until Rubio either contradicted Trump or handed Democrats the viral clip they were looking for. It didn't work. Instead of accepting the premise, Rubio kept steering the conversation back to America's national interests, NATO reforms, and the realities of foreign policy. The frustration quickly became obvious as McBride repeatedly interrupted him, insisting on a direct answer to a single quote. Then came the moment everyone noticed. Rubio looked back and said, "Well, why are you asking me if I can't answer?" Suddenly, the exchange shifted. Instead of Rubio looking cornered, the hearing became a debate over whether the questioning was really about getting answers or scoring political points. The conversation then moved to Article 5, Denmark and Greenland, where Rubio defended ongoing diplomatic negotiations while arguing that NATO allies should continue doing more for collective defense. Whether you agree with Rubio's position or not, this exchange became one of the hearing's most talked about moments, and it's easy to see why.